In this video we're going to demonstrate the use of the Datalinx Warehouse Manager 200 application to carry out purchase order receipting using incremental scanning and sales order picking using incremental scanning. Within this, not only will we be doing incremental scanning, but we're using the two-dimensional GS1 codes. We've based this around some standard products, the images of which can be seen here. You will see that the 2D barcodes contain both the batch number and the product code, plus some of them contain dates where relevant. These will be checked inbound and outbound through the application. So, looking at the Sage 200 screens, here we can see the product that's being used, SBS TE03X. It also has some units of measure set up. So here you can see that we have boxes of 10 that we'll be using inbound, and we have bottles which are one each. Through this process we're going to be producing barcodes for the bottles as they come into the warehouse. So having closed the screen down, we are now going to go and have a look at the purchase orders. So if we have a look at our purchase orders within Sage 200, the first sales order is 4520. And again, we've kept things fairly simple here. It's a single line order. There you can see a quantity of 5 waiting to come in. If we just have a look at the items, we can see the details of the product there, and it's one box of 10. So we're bringing in 5 boxes of 10 in this case, because that's the buying unit. So we'll close that screen down. So having created that order, and we're also going to be using 4521, which is exactly the same. We're just going to be carrying out 2 different types of inbound transaction. So on the handheld, we clearly need to log into the device first. What you're actually looking at here is a mirror of the handheld itself, and we're going to go to purchase order receipting. And then we're going to work with a specific order number because we know what that is, and this is 4520. So on the handheld we select that up, and it's pulling the information with regards to that purchase order. Here we can see it here, and what we can do is say, yes, okay, we've got the purchase order and this is the product that we're going to receive. So we can either scan or click at this stage to bring the order in, and you can see that down the bottom there's 5 off, and it's in the unit of measures boxes of 10. So having selected the part and the order that we're going to receive, in this case, because it's the first time through into the screens, it's asking for a supplier reference, which we put in. We now scan the 2D barcode. You'll notice that the receipted quantity has now gone to 1. The code detail is there on the screen, and we scan a second one. And as we're scanning, you'll see that the number is incrementing each time it is scanned. So that's the third one, 2 outstanding. In this case all the batches are the same, so it is 5 boxes all with the same batch. And that's the 5th one scanned and completed. Having done that and booked them in, it's now telling us where we should place that within the warehouse. So in this case, just simple bin of 1, 2, 3. And we have the option to create the labels. In this case we're just going to generate 50 off because you've got 5 boxes of 10. These are the 2D barcodes that you can now stick on the individual bottles should they not be created. Clearly you have the option here not to create any labels and just to move through the process. Having printed the labels, we carry out the receipt, and that has completed the purchase order receipt. And at that point we have also updated the purchase order within Sage, which we will go and have a look at in a while. Okay, so this time we're going to go back in a similar way to the purchase orders, but this time we're going to carry out a receipt of the same product, but with a change in the batch as we go through the process. So this is where a supplier may have sent you the same product, but 2 batches. So once again, you can see the orders very much the same, but using the order number 4521. It's still 5 and it's still boxes of 10. Put in the supplier delivery reference. We now scan the first box, and you'll notice that the receipted quantity increases with 4 outstanding, the description etc. there, so that's the second one scanned. Third one scanned, all the same batch at this moment in time. We now switch in the batch, and you can see that it's detected that it's a change in the batch even though it's within the GS1 code. Now clearly, because we're producing labels at this point, we need to do the receipt of the 3, generate the labels for the internal bottles within the box, and then receipt the other 2. So yes, we're going to receipt the 2. It's telling us the location to put those 3 that we've receipted in. So that's booked the first batch in. It's now taken us back, showing us that there's 2 outstanding to receipt, 3 already receipted. So again, we now scan the label of the second batch, same product. Once scanned, and scan again. And no more to come in. So again, the location to place those, 1, 2, 3 in the put away bin. Labels 20. And that completes the receipt of the second order. So really that was just showing that we can change batches, generate the labels which are batch specific as part of the purchase order receipting. We're now going to go off and have a look at those 2 orders within Sage. So if we go into the purchase orders that we've just bought in, we key in the first one, 4520, and we view the order, and we look at the quantities. Here we can see in the middle of the screen 5 ordered and 5 received. We now will pull up the item, highlight the item and view it, and we look at the deliveries. Here we can see the single line as you'd expect, and there you can see the single batch, and that batch 624415 is what was extracted from the GS1 code together with the date of 31st of 10/18. So that was the first order. The second order, just to show that, we're now going to just close this order down, and we're going to view the 4521 order. Okay, again quantity of 5 there, and we look at the deliveries here, and you can see there's 2 lines on the delivery as you'd expect, and the batch details. There's the first batch, and on the second line there is your second batch. So it's a change of batch as we went through that process. So that shows the inbound process using incremental scanning, GS1 codes, extracting the batches and the dates, and booking the product into stock.